All right, so today we're going to be attempting at replacing the fuel pressure regulator on my Disco. And I'm gonna try and make a how-to video while I also learn how to do it. So let's see how it goes. First is we're gonna pop the ignition coil out. So you have a wire here, and you should have 4 bolts, basically 1, 2, same on the other side, 3, 4. I only have 2 left. Unplug, take off your wires if you haven't labeled them yet. I just label mine 1 through 8, so I know exactly to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all lined up. Pop the ignition coil out, and then that will let us access our fuel pressure regulator. So it's kind of a pain, but once you get the bolts removed, it pops out. And then on the driver's side, passenger, if you're from somewhere other than America, pops out, pulls out this way. I'm gonna lay her down here somewhere safe. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here and see if I can get a good view on it. There's a bolt here and a bolt here. We're not gonna touch those yet. On the back side, there's I think it's a 17 mil or a 14 mil. We're gonna use some fuel line or line wrench. Take that further part out while holding on to this possibly with a 17. So give me a few seconds, I'm gonna get that out. 14 millimeter line wrench went in there. Just enough room between the firewall to get it. If you had a smaller line wrench, you'd be good, but I think you need the extra leverage. So I've broken that free. Let's see if I can get my phone back there. Where are we? So this nut is free. That was back into the fuel pressure regulator. Now we're gonna go in and we're gonna take out these 2, I believe, 8 millimeter bolts. There's one here and one on the bottom. All right, so now that you have those 2 bolts out, you should be able to just wiggle, push it out. I didn't have to worry about mine because this was bad, so I was leaking out fuel pressure. But if you aren't sure, I would go and relieve your fuel pressure before popping it out, or else it's going to squirt all over your face. That's what she said. And to do that, you can just go to the fuel pressure relief, stick a screwdriver in there, squirt it out, and then you'll be fine. So next step we're going to do is we're going to pop this back in. Before we do that, I'm going to take a little bit of brake grease and just go around the seal. That way it presses in a little easier. Now that you have those 2 bolts tightened, we're gonna go ahead and move back to putting the fuel line on. When you're, a little trick for these 2 bolts is start with the bottom one, finger tight, then put the top one in, finger tight, and then tighten, work your way, staggering back and forth until it's snug. Don't go too tight, you'll break the fuel rail. Cut off there. You'll break the fuel rail. Tight is tight, don't go crazy. Next up is we're gonna take that fuel line in the back here again. If I can get it. I'm not gonna be able to show you guys. But we're just gonna take it, get it as tight as we can by hand, and then take that 14 millimeter line wrench again and see if we can snug it up with that. If not, I'm just gonna get a little mini wrench and tighten it. So I ended up having to use an adjustable to tighten that up back there. I didn't have a small 14, so I ended up using this little guy. Be careful when you're tightening it, or else you can pop out this back injector here. So what I ended up having to do is I did pop it out. I took one of my wrenches, applied downward pressure on it like this until it re-clicked in. Should be all right, but we'll find out when I start it up and it leaks all over the place. Next step is we are going to reconnect the vacuum line from here to the intake. Once the intake is connected, we're going to put the coil pack back in. Now the ignition coil is back bolted in. Everything's hooked up. What you're gonna do is you're gonna prime the fuel pump. Put this gear into the Roachmobile. If anybody wants to trade me for something with like a full interior, I would be willing to trade. All right, so we're gonna prime, key off, prime it again. I can hear the pump running, you probably can't. Crank. It would help if I plugged the fucking coil pack back in Stupid. All right, close back in. Let's see. And what the fuck? Actually, idling so high. Popped this out when I was leaning on it. Oopsies. Okay, so now you just want to double check and make sure there's no leaks. I don't see any, I don't smell any. Should be good. I smoothed out. Seems to be running pretty decent. What I'm gonna do now is my issue was I would shut it off, say wait for 5 minutes, and then I would have to sit there and wait for the fuel pump to prime. All my fuel pressure would run out almost immediately. I did a test on it, so we're gonna see if that fixes it. So I'm gonna let the truck sit here for like 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go and try and start it without priming the fuel pump. In a few hours, gonna see if I fixed the hard start issue. I checked it at work a few times. Now it's been like 2 hours since I started it. Before, when you would go to start it, you would have to prime the fuel pump before it would start. Now I'm just gonna go straight on. Well, that's better than it was before. Second try, I'll fucking take it. All right, so we're good. It also might have something to do with I have the air conditioning on. So I'll take it. Tomorrow, I have a MAF sensor coming in. I'm gonna put a MAF in, and then we are good. So that's it. That's how to install a fuel pressure regulator. If you have some hard starting issues, I would highly recommend at least trying that before jumping to fuel pump. I'm also gonna put a fuel pump in it. But if somebody wants to trade me a like 3rd gen Montero, a 2nd gen Montero, a Disco 2, let me know. There's a bunch of new stuff done to this thing. I just want something that is a little bit more daily driver friendly and comfortable.